Thanks for watching. In the last video, you have perhaps seen me modify this Axial SCX6 chassis. So this one is now my shorty. So this is going to be a two-door Jeep. You see the body over here. It's quite a bit shorter than the stock version. You can also see, by the way, just as a side note, you don't need to use a lot of paint to have the illusion that something is completely painted. You can tell that over here with the stock body. Anyway. This one 70 millimeters shorter than the stock version. If you would overlay this with a full-sized picture, and we'll do that at some point, it is pretty much spot on. Also where this rear wheel well starts. So all of that is something that I'm really happy with. I just chopped out 70 millimeters from the stock body, joined those two halves up again, and ended up with something that, well, at least it looks like a two-door. Over here you see the body parts that I chopped out. We will chop up another clear body just so you can have a look at how to do it. And also I will make sure that the clear body looks a lot better than this one, because this one is a bit of a hack job, but it's just for testing purposes. So far so good. I'm really happy with the proportions of it. Now I am currently charging some Gens Ace batteries, so these are 5000 milliamps, 3-cell. I can only run one at a time because I eliminated 2 battery trays that usually sit on the sides, just because I don't have room for them anymore. So all of this is pretty extensively modified. If you have not seen the video, I will make sure that it's either linked in the screen, or if you can't find it over there, I will make sure that it's in the video description box. So you can just click it over there and have a look. It's basically 20 minutes in which I go over all the steps that you need to take to modify the links, the frame rails, the shock location, the drive shafts, all of that stuff in order to have a short chassis SCX6. This will be, I think, the most easy to handle version of them all. So I got a shorty, then I got a regular one. I also have a Gladiator. The Gladiator is a bit of a handful just because it's so long and so heavy. The regular one is also, I think, quite a bit of a handful to drive. And this one is actually super manageable. You can tell that these are all of the stock links. These are also some parts of a frame rail, some battery trays, some running boards. So this used to sit behind here. I chopped all of that stuff off and basically lightened the chassis a whole lot as well, using just all stock axial parts. So this is really an easy to do modification if you're looking to do something like this yourself. If you think, oh, but I don't like the way that this body looks, the easiest way, of course, is just to cut the top off, because I will be running an interior, and then you would have basically a topless two-door, which is super easy to do. You can just afterwards add some sort of plate over here, whether that be styrene or some transparent Lexan or PET, that really doesn't matter. There's a ton of ways to modify this so it actually looks really good. If you look on the inside of this body, this is definitely not my finest work, but for the sake of demonstration, it's absolutely perfect. So I could, of course, go and shoe glue this up and lose sleep over how to actually cover up that butt joint. But I'm not going to, since I'm going to change it out with this clear body anyway. For just running it and for testing it, it does fine the way it is. So the majority of these two body halves is connected through that rear fender. So by just adding a few holes in what used to be the rear door and then shoving this entire section forward 70 millimeters, I have a body that works perfectly fine. Batteries in, this one is full. So I will just plug this all up and then we will take it out. You can tell that we almost have straight links on the bottom. So I did drop the suspension. The suspension is now in line with the lower link mount. And by doing so, I have less ground clearance, but I don't need so much just because this thing is so much shorter that you're not going to run into that many problems with it sitting a bit lower. I think the stance is spot on. All of the proportions are really good. Everything works as it should be. So I did put the transmission forward 26 millimeters, and also the rear of it is shortened 44 millimeters. But overall, in performance, I think this outclasses every single other SCX6 that I own. So you don't have a ton of body roll at all like this. I think it might even pop a wheelie. I truly dare say that the stock one would have toppled over here already. So there's quite a bit of side hilling going on. I'm not sure if the camera picks that up, but you can tell it's a bit noisy on full throttle, so I'm not sure what that is, but let's figure that out later. It also just be because it's new. It doesn't seem to have it in high gear, so. Dash truck like this. Alright, let's take it into the forest. I honestly hope that something short wheelbase like this and lowered, that it will be released. Just because I think it would open up the market so much more than the current version would. It's super capable, a lot of fun. I think more durable as well. And I hope this proves that all the parts, they have everything in-house basically, so it shouldn't be too difficult. Now this is the recommended 3S, but you can pretty safely run these on 4S as well. So this is like recommended top speed, I guess, then with the high gear, the high speed gear. And keep in mind I'm driving with one hand because I'm filming with the other, so it could be that my driving is a tiny bit off, but you just have to live with it. Also, Chris, why don't we see your face in this video? Maybe you wonder about that because you haven't seen me in a few weeks. I had an infection above the eyebrow. So I just turned 40 and I just had my first plastic surgery. And I look like I've been in a fight. So I don't look too representable these days. But I'll give you a quick glimpse. It's not pretty. So you'll see my face again once once it is all healed up. Now this is probably where, just for the sake of realism, I'm going to take it out of high gear. I'm 100% confident you can bash the crap out of this thing without it breaking. Despite the drive shafts being shortened and despite this being basically a hack mod that I did at home, it is extremely durable. Famous last words, of course, before I have to carry it home, but that as well. I'm not sure if you even saw how it tackled that. Putting it in low gear now. Look, that's pretty. One side this is like the gnarliest side hill. I will say that a regular SCX6 would roll here. We're already approaching 45 degrees of side hilling. And this thing is just, it's planted. It's it's really extreme. It goes to show that with these new parts, with everything that I've engineered for the SCX6, there's so much possible. And I honestly hope that they will dive into it and explore every single option of what they can do with these axles, because it's a phenomenal platform. This low gear, there's such an incredible amount of torque going on. And it performs so well, it's just great. This as well, look at this. For a short wheelbase truck, it's fantastic. Let's see how clear this gap over here. Could be that this is a bit of a lengthy video, but well, just consider it hanging out with me then. I'm super lucky to have all of this and no onlookers right next to my doorstep. So there's nobody wondering if I'm if I'm mentally ill or whatnot when I'm talking to my RC car like this into my phone. Let's jump in a bit. Actually, it doesn't really well. Oh. Oops. A little bit too much fun there. So glad this isn't like a, a custom one-off paint job. Because there's the first road rash, or rock rash, I should say. All of this is granite, so it's pretty unforgiving. Took that like a champ. Time. Yeah, so there's a ton of hiking trails around here. Hiking, biking, whatever you want. Really close to the cliff, so after that you can look down about 300, 400 foot or 100 something meters. Down to the fjord and out to Sweden. Super cool. Perhaps we will even make it out there today. Not sure how long I'm going to make this video. I'm not going to bore you to death. This is a pretty funny little section. With a 10 scale, it's really nice to drive through here. With the Gladiator, I think, or I know, I filmed me pulling out the 24 scale Gladiator and wheeling it through here and back, and then putting it back into the back of the SCX6 Gladiator. But let's see how this thing does. That's actually really surprising that it does this. I think with it having a short wheelbase now, it's kind of the perfect medium between having that the regular SCX6, which is a bit of a handful, and like a 10 scale. It does 10 scale stuff. You can tell also the tires, they tuck really nicely. Despite me having messed around with the shocks and all of the links and all that stuff. It tucks well, but it doesn't scrape, it doesn't touch. Also, I think it looks like a real two-door. Those two-door Jeeps, they have a bit of a bigger rear window. Let me fix this mirror real quick, just because I hate the way that this looks otherwise. So they have a bit of a bigger rear window, just like I have it over here. And if you would overlay this with a picture of a full-size one, we will do that once I start painting up that clear body. It's fairly close. Also, in modifying it, I shoved the front axle forward 6 millimeters just to have a bit of a better approach angle, and that really pays off in how it performs. So I might also do that with my other SCX6s. This, I can guarantee you, the regular one would have tipped over. Steering servo browning out a tiny bit over there. But we all know that there's options for those, so I'm not too fussed about it. Now, this is kind of a predicament here. There we go. You hear it screaming a bit. There's something a bit noisy in the top end of the RPMs. I'm not sure what it is. Perhaps you do know. Let me know in the comment section. Also, let me know if you like these kind of off-the-hip type of HemiStorm running in the forest videos. Because these are pretty easy to shoot, to be honest. Almost caused more body damage over there, but not quite. It's almost fast on that 3 cells. I am definitely going to try on a 4 as well, just to see what happens. I got some really nice new 4-cell Gen 6 batteries just for this type of testing. And man, I'm not trying to pat myself on the chest here, but this thing is planted. It's really good for something that you can do with stock parts. It rocks. I can highly recommend just trying this. And again, you know, if you don't want to go through all this trouble with trying to make the body look nice, just cut the top off and then find something to cover that rear quarter panel, so you get rid of those hinges and the door handle, and you're good to go. I want to make it look nice, because it's it's kind of what my defect is. But yeah, it's super nice to drive. It's a lot of fun. Handles perfectly fine. Super planted. Won't say it turns on a dime, but if you have like a bit of loose surface like you have over here, then it does. Of course, a lot of that also depends on the steering servo, and the stock one is not great, but it's not the worst either. So Reeves has a really nice steering servo. I'll perhaps link that in the video description box so you can check it out. This is a pretty nice drop over here. Let's go check that out. Doesn't look like much, but with the stock one and also with the Gladiator, this is where that extra chassis length comes in handy. Put it in low gear first. Otherwise it will roll straight out. So it could be that we're going to run into some issues here with it being so much shorter. Only one way to find out. Honestly, it's like glue. I don't even hate on the stock foams in this setup. A bit of a technical hill coming up over here. From there as well, we will have a really nice view, and perhaps we'll drive down a tiny bit further so we can explore a bit more of that view. Lots of roots and rock and good variety of terrain. Wintertime it gets a bit tricky over here, very slippery. You need to watch your footing in order not to break a hip or wrist or anything else. This is a super nice section. I'll just put in low gear again, just so we can fully use that the drag brake. Keep in mind that this phone is currently, or this camera, it is my phone, is currently on a gimbal, so there's no cheating in how steep this incline actually is. Check this out. So nice. Let me try to zoom in. So that is actually Sweden. So then there's the fjord in between, the body of water. Holy crap. You know what? It tackles stuff that I didn't think was possible. Now on the other side over here is like a nice step down. I'm not sure if it's going to be too happy tackling that. This is a bit narrow for a 1/6 scale truck. Getting eaten alive by mosquitoes here. Over here, I will say that foam is actually doing what it's supposed to do, which is just giving a tiny bit of suppleness to the tire. This is a tiny bit sketchy. Man, I'm not sure if this shows, but wow. Will it do this or will I then nuke it? Let's see. Even does that. Of course, it's going to be a tiny bit more weight once I add the interior, which I do plan on recycling. But yeah, so far, really good. Let's drive it down a tiny bit, and I think then we'll call it a day. So these type of sections over here, where you see all of these pine needles, this gets slippery as can be in autumn and also in winter. All this dark stuff in winter, this gets mega slick. So that's really something that you need to keep into account. You can't just walk around here and expect not to fall, because you will eat it at some point. This is a pretty gnarly section. Let's see what it does on its way up over there. Some of these parts are just a really good indicator of what a truck can or cannot do. Now, easiest way, of course, would be to grab it over there, but this is pretty much vertical. So good. So side hill right now. Honestly, if you have one of these, get your hacksaw out, order those links, and build this, because it outperforms anything else. I'll make sure that just like in the previous video, that I will have all of the links to all of the parts that you need for a conversion like this. Then I have those in the video description box. It is a pretty short shopping list, and I also think that the mods that you need to do are pretty easy. If you do run into any type of trouble, could be, of course, let me know and I'll help you out. I'll be more than happy to help you. Can't really miss where it's at with how loud it is. Man, We have a really nice view up here. Just try to show you. Somebody, by the smell of it, somebody is having a campfire, and it's currently illegal. It's like anywhere else. There's a ton of forest fires over here. Check this out. Perhaps you also recognize this from some of my running videos. Shot Gatekeeper here and the SCX10 Gladiator. You really don't want to slip and fall here in wintertime, because then that's the last thing that you'll ever do. If this truck tumbles, it's also the last thing that it will ever do. So let's just see what it does on this really steep hill. This could be a really expensive mistake. But like we painters always say, no cuts, no glory. I might actually put that on a t-shirt someday. We'll cut it off over there. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, let me know. Pressing the like button always helps. Also, leave me a comment if you want to know anything more about this SCX6 shorty conversion. The video link will be in the video description box as well if you wonder how to build one of these. And keep your eyes peeled for me painting up a clear body and also putting the interior back in and making it look hopefully as seamless as possible. And in the next video, I think that you'll see my ugly mug again, because then it will have healed up, I hope. Anyway, thanks so much for watching. Take care, enjoy summer, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.
Test. Back on.